Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 15th day of July, 2019. Well, I did not do the moon post the other day. Yesterday, it was supposed to go up. It was supposed to be the moon in Capricorn, I believe. You can check it out on the side panel over at imsteppingaside.com. If you scroll way down, you'll see, where the moon is at any given moment and what the planetary information is as well. I just have some widgets there that do that. But I was going to do that, but then I don't know. I just felt this other thing welling up within. And so it's called Surviving Donald, and it's on the blog at Stepping Aside over at imsteppingaside.com. So if you want to look at that, you're welcome to do that. I'd love you to take a look. And occasionally I do an opinion piece. I used to do more than I do now, but I just don't really want to stay in that mode because I could be in it like every second of my life, really. but this time I've just been kind of trying to focus on other things. And so there's also a post up on plantain and some other herbs. I'm going to be alternating, I think, some herbal stuff with some astrological stuff and magical stuff. So, but then this other little thing just sort of came out. And so there it is, if you want to go check that out. So anyhow, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And again, check out the blog. Also, Amazon's having their Prime Day deals and all of that. It's today and tomorrow, so check that out if you haven't been over there yet. They have some really good savings. I have a little storefront. It's an influencer storefront. They let folks who publish on their platform and all of that have blogs and whatnot. They let them become Amazon affiliates. And so anyhow, I'm one of those. And so you can go over there to a Witchin store at Amazon and see all of the Prime Day deals that I have listed. And then there's also some other things there that I have, other sections you can take a look at. And there's a link to it down in the link section here below, where it says welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and all of that below the video, all that information. If you click on, I think it says show more or something, then you can see everywhere that I am, and you can follow me different places. And if you're interested in shopping Amazon's Prime Day deals, then they're today and tomorrow. So check that out. Anyhow, if you've come back, thank you so much. It's good to see everybody, and as we grow our tarot and rune family together here. I've got honey on my hands, so we'll see if we can actually shuffle the cards today. Of course, actually, it's doing a little better than usual. Seems like lately, whenever I go out and I work in the garden before I do this video, my hands are just, I don't know, they got a weird film on them or something, and it makes shuffling my cards a little challenging. So anyhow. Such is the life of someone who with her hands in the dirt all the time. So that's why this time of year everybody has to put up with my my filthy fingernails, all my dirt under my nails. I try, but sometimes it just doesn't come out. So there you go. We had this compost stuff delivered last year that it's black, and it's supposed to be really, really good compost. Problem is, it's got a lot of weed seeds in it. Wasn't supposed to have any, but it does. And now I have some interesting things growing. One of which is henbit, which is medicinal, which is fine. It's just that it's got too much everywhere now. So I'm having to take out things that I normally wouldn't because they wouldn't be there. Every time, you go and you order bark or you order compost or soil or anything, you just never know. We got this great super soil stuff from, that's what they were calling it, from a local company one year. And I mean, it wasn't cheap at all. And I had a load brought because we were going to put in some other beds. And so we needed some soil, and we thought, well, heck, let's just get some of that. Well, it was great. The next year or the next time, I don't know if it was the following year or the year after or something, but the next time we ordered it, I don't know what they brought us. They charged us for that, but it's not super soil. It's got a lot of rock in it, and it's just awful. So we've learned, unfortunately, that if we want to if we want to buy soil, we just don't. We have to make our own, essentially, from compost and everything else, and to reuse things and reinvigorate them with different additives and things. And we find that when we do that, our stuff grows better than if we go and we buy stuff locally. I don't know what people are thinking around here, but if you're going to sell this stuff for mega bucks, then it needs to be what it is you actually ordered. So just me, though, I guess. Maybe they disagree. Anyhow, I've been tincturing. I ordered some stuff from Mountain Rose Herbs. I don't grow everything that I do medicine with, and then some things I just don't like I just grow them, and I don't ever want to, it's like if you're supposed to dig up the root or something. Like this year I have to dig up valerian root. I'm going to do it. Fortunately, I have a lot of new valerian out there, because if you let it go to seed, if you let it flower, you're going to have valerian everywhere. So anyhow, I generally buy stuff that I just don't want to have to dig up, and risk losing. So anyhow, I ordered some stuff like that, and some stuff like Solomon's seal root I can't grow here. So I ordered some of that, and I made some tincture. I also saved a little bit out for some liniment. I'm going to do a little bit of liniment too. Solomon's seal is basically an endangered or at-risk plant. So you have to be careful with it. So I don't order it very often, just very occasionally when I need it. And so then, because tinctures will last a while, because you're not taking it every day. So, but I ordered that. I ordered some pleurisy root, and because my butterfly weed isn't doing for crap. So anyhow, only one of them is, and it's starting to get some leaf structure to it, but the rest of it, I don't know. So I just ordered some, and I'm making some tincture out of that. I ordered some colt's foot, because I don't grow colt's foot. I should, but I don't. So I ordered some of that, and and then I also ordered some elecampane root, and I tinctured everything. I have elecampane growing, and I actually have some growing that's looking good enough that I could probably go ahead in the fall, take some of the root. Plus I have some growing in a couple of pots. And I'm thinking that I may just focus on the pots and take the root out of that. But elecampane is really good as a respiratory herb. So it just opens everything up, and, gets things moving. And it's just a really great herb. You don't use the flowers or anything from it, but you use the roots. So, but again, I just don't like to dig up anything, and unless it's dandelion or yellow dock or something like that, The rest of it is just like, oh no, leave it. Even my burdock, I don't dig up, although I'm going to this year. So I have done it in the past. I don't know. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. That's enough herb talk. And but again, if you guys want alternative healing, herbs really ought to be your first choice, I think, anyway. They've certainly saved my life. So anyhow, let's draw our first card. 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, 9, 10. 11, 12. I may have spoken too soon here. I can shuffle, but I can't, draw 13 cards here. The 13th card. That part I'm having trouble with. So anyhow, the Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles is about the earth element, or the mundane issues in our life, our practical aspects of life, finances, home, the body itself, transactions with other. It's just basically our, the air is the intellect, water is emotions, and fire is will or creativity, or it is talking about everything that's not about the mundane aspects of life, or our foundation. And here you have a knight in full battle attire. Although his visor is up on his helmet, so there's nothing really going on right now. He sort of stands at the precipice of something new. He's looking toward the future. His horse has a weighty look to it. As opposed to, say, the type of horse that is lean and moving, say one, say the Knight of Wands might have, for example, flowing into action, moving into action. This is more sedentary, more grounded. So whatever he's doing out there in the world is about maybe on a quest for not necessarily riches, but to establish his own legacy. Maybe as a knight, he's doing things to protect the kingdom, perhaps. But in this case, it may have to do with with money. All right, the Knights Templar were essentially started the banking system. I mean, in a very real sense. Between them and Rome, they started the banking system, or at least the banking system we know now. And so that was a very much part of their function. So it could be simply that this is representing the more, instead of being out with the rest of the knights in a battle or on a quest or something like that, that this is about the everyday aspects of our lives and how we take care of all of that. Let's do another card. And I take the 13th card each time. I was born on the 13th of October, and 13 just always comes up in my life. And so whenever I want to do something randomly, I'll take the 13th card. And so because I want this to be random, that's what I've been doing, is that. Now we're continuing the Pentacles and the Court as well with the King of Pentacles. So again, foundational, structural things are apparently what this reading is going to be about today. Again, with court cards, we can think about the individual himself. We've initially had a knight, and now we have a king. So both male energies, projective energies, getting things done energies, as opposed to receptive presence with the page or princess and the queen. Although, the queens can be just as dynamic as can the princesses and pages, as any king or knight could be. But here we have the king with his back to the kingdom, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not, thinking about their needs. You see oak leaves and grapes, although those could be grape leaves. Although they don't look like any of my grape leaves because I have grapes, and they don't look like that. These look more like my oak tree leaves. So in any event, I always get very, confused about it. But at the same time, oak would denote strength, wouldn't it? The grapes would denote fertility and abundance, not just wine. But here you see the ram's heads on his throne, both on the top there and also on the armrest. If you look down right there, you can see I believe that's a ram's head there. So you have some Mars energy there, but only in terms of authority. Both the knight and the king have authority, although the knight would be a lesser version of that. But this is about getting things done and taking care of business today. Let's see what the third card is. Given their stature, you could be needing to make some decisions today about the home. Here we have the Hierophant, our first numbered card, 5 of change. We see the familiar theme here of pillars. You can see, I can't tell if that's 2 or 3 fingers held to spirit. Let's look. We see 2 fingers held to spirit. We see, however, 3 little lines, or whatever you will, on his scepter. So there's the 5. He's got three crosses going down the white ribbon down there. I'm not sure what you call that. Here you have three levels on his crown, on his headdress. We see the cross keys below. And we see the two monks sitting at his feet. Now, the Hierophant is about, in one sense, he's thought of as the holy guardian angel. It's about somebody who is, well, I mean, he's the priest, right? But what he is he embodies the mastery of all three worlds, of knowledge, tradition, and structure. There you're looking at the three crosses, which indicate that knowledge, tradition, and structure. He's about free choice. He's about idealism and patience. He's about divine wisdom. And the transmission of hidden knowledge. You can see the monks down there waiting. You can see the two keys, the cross keys, denoting knowledge. The pillars themselves suggest a doorway into new experiences. But I think that to really know, I mean, clearly there must have been a change in terms of our financial status, maybe, in terms of our family, in terms of our legacy. Maybe there's a doorway. Maybe the Knight of Pentacles is suggesting, as he's looking toward the future, that he's looking out onto a new experience that's coming his way, or that he's going to manifest, perhaps. Although Earth is a receptive presence, that would indicate, or at least suggest, that we're waiting for something to happen. Not necessarily. We can do that. We can wait for something to drop in our laps, and it can happen that way. But all too often, we typically have had to have planted the seeds somewhere for that, so that someone knows about us and can then drop something into our lap, you see. So clearly, we've manifested something along the way to get someone's attention. Let's do one more card, though. I'm not convinced that the Hierophant belongs at the end. The Hierophant may belong in between the Knight and the King, or the Hierophant may start the reading. So let's take one more card. I almost dropped the 10th card there. Well, okay, so the 8 of Cups, now we've brought emotion into the situation. We can see the moon above. We're on a watery scene there at the beach, the coast. But he's walking sort of in an incline, isn't he? Ready to meet new emotional challenges, perhaps. He's leaving behind emotions that no longer serve. They're not in disarray. So this isn't something that's born from chaos necessarily, unless you've just gotten to the point where you've taken command of the situation. 8 is about leadership skills. It's about the awareness of more than just yourself, more collective consciousness-oriented awareness than, say, the fool on his journey, aware only of his own undeveloped potential. But you see, as we progress on, we begin to remember who we are, and that we're not simply here all alone, that there's more than just us in the equation. 8 and 5 is 13, so again, that reduces to force. So numerologically, again, we're looking at structure and foundation. So there's been a change here. And I think that we've just gotten to the point where whatever is impacting, perhaps that maybe our emotions have impacted our financial security, or our life in general, and maybe they've just gotten in the way, and maybe in a higher self-awareness. We don't see the Hierophant here pointing toward ego or toward form. The Hierophant is only pointing toward spirit. So here we have our first level of remembrance, don't we, of who we are as spirit in the major arcana. It's like we've gone along, we've done our, we've been the fool, we've jumped into the abyss, we've been the magician, where we've done the alchemical process of creation, we've been the high priestess, where we've decided, well, okay, now we're going to bring all of this into existence below the into the abyss, below into the form side of the equation instead of the spirit side of the equation. The high priestess helps us do that. And then we have the empress that brings life into form, and then the emperor, who is her consort, who brings a little bit more structure to the experience. But we need to remember with the Hierophant that we're still spirit inhabiting these bodies. Let's take a look at the rune. Well, we have Manaz. And Manaz is the 20th rune of the Elder Futhark, so a 2 energy of change and balance and harmony. Maybe there was a little lack of that here with the 8, maybe. And we had to kind of all bring it back into some semblance of balance, so we can then look dispassionately at it and say, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do something else. Let's do a little bit of drawing though. So where is this? And I'll show you what Manaz is actually comprised of. Let's see, I'll use this one. Yeah, I'll use this one so you can see it. So first I'll draw Manaz, which I never do very well. Ooh, that one looked pretty well. Look at that. That's even. Now, if you know runes at all, you're going to see the X in the middle. That's Gebo, balanced energy exchange. We also have Vunyo, forward and reversed, which is joy and fellowship. So you're probably starting to get to understand what Manaz is all about. And we also have Lagus contained in there as well, or flow. Manaz talks about about who we are within the greater society, within the greater unified consciousness. I'm going to see here. It appears just after Ewaz, which looks like an M. So all we've done here is just brought the M down and made an X there. But it's an earth element rune, so it's going to align well with the pentacles here. It's about mankind, however, and how fragile we are and how fragile our partnerships are. You know, when we become so entrenched in the ego, it's very difficult for spirit to even get through and inform what it is we're doing, to remind us that in fact the other that we see, the us versus them experience we always seem to want to have with one another, that in truth that's a fallacy, that's but an illusion. That in fact what we are when we see another is what we're seeing is the other side of self. We're seeing mankind, humanity in its totality when we see someone else. And we think in terms of that person being the other side of self. I'm telling you, I have honey all over this cup. But this is about, again, who we are in terms of the rest of everyone. And the Hierophant would suggest that we've forgotten who we are. The Hierophant suggests that it's time to move on, to remember who we are, and to move on from emotions that no longer serve us, emotions that are judgmental and cause us nothing but grief. To be less reactionary than we typically are. The guy in the Oval Office that I wrote about in my last blog post could learn something or a thing or two, I guess, about that. You know, when Congress people go down to the border and see the camps and see just exactly the conditions these people are living in, these immigrants, they come back and they tell everyone, right? They're not lying. And when they want the guy in the oval to do something that he clearly doesn't want to do, it's not then time to tell them to go back to their home countries, because three of those women, and they're women, uh, they were born here. The other one was brought by her father as a Somali refugee. So, you know, they're here legally, especially the three of them. They were born here. The other one is a naturalized citizen. So I guess we've been reduced to that now. America, love it or leave it. America, do what the guy in the Oval Office says, or leave it. But what if he's wrong? So let's look at the geomancy rune and see what we have here. We're doing pretty good on time here. If you've not seen geomancy before, it can be done in a variety of ways. It's an earth element type of divination methods. It's an older one. I have essentially four runes. They have a two dots on one side, one on the other. They're all aligned with whatever. This one is a fire one, and so it has a little fire element glyph on it, so that I know, because I have to put them in order. So fire, and then air. No, that's earth. There's air, water, and earth. So that gives us, is it Laetitia? Yes, it's Laetitia. All right, rather than drawing that out, I'm just going to, I went ahead and I did them just for art purposes for the blog. I went ahead and I did all the geomancy runes here. And so I just want to, it makes it easier than just drawing them for you. And then you don't have to look at my artwork. Laetitia is about joy and about harmony with others. So whatever change that is happening here, especially vis-a-vis the, I would say the eight of, here we go, is this it? No, that's that. The opposite is Tristitia, which is loss. Yeah, that's Laetitia. So here we have Laetitia. Now, a single dot indicates an active influence or projective influence. The dual dots indicate a passive influence. So here we're just, you know, a little bit focused on being in joy. That's just, we're just being joyful. It's not a tremendous amount of focus, but you can see, given where it sits at the very top, then spirit is causing all of that. We're focused on spirit. We're not focused on the ego, because when we're focused on the ego, that's when things get dicey, isn't it? So, okay. We have harmony and joy with Manaz. There's obviously something positive happening with the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles with respect to our foundation, to our home life, our legacy, maybe employment's changing. Maybe we need a different focus. The Hierophant is telling us that there's going to be some change that's born from a different level of perception, one that's based on spirit. And then with the Eight of Cups, we're leaving emotions that are no longer serving us. And we're doing that with intention. And realistically, you know, it almost resembles this, doesn't it? Energetically. We're ascending instead of descending. You can see he's kind of walking upwards. So there's a little bit of an ascent. So the unknown might be full of challenges, but that's okay. He's more than happy to take that journey into some kind of better emotional fulfillment. Well, groovy. Well, listen, you know, today is Maiden Moon, and I got the greatest picture last night of the one last night. It's got this, you know, the spires coming. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And I'll probably use that one for the next moon post, but because it's really cool. Occasionally, I can take a really cool picture, and I do that all the time because I everything's witchy because I'm a witch, so therefore I like to have moon shots for a lot of my headings, my main pictures for my posts on my blog. So you see a lot of that over there. So anyway, you know, take advantage of the energies today if you want to set some intentions or or what have you while you're still in, I mean, the dark phase is basically over now. But crone moon will be on Wednesday. So new moon, or so full moon is on Tuesday, maiden is tonight, mother's Tuesday, crone is on Wednesday. So however you want to work it, just work something. Do something that maybe brings harmony back. Or if you set some intentions on the new moon, you'll bring them to fulfillment on the full. So I don't know. Things are so upsetting these days. I just I don't know what's going to happen. The pendulum keeps telling me that either he will not be the nominee at all, or he will not win. See, it's still affirming he will not win. Whether or not he'll ultimately be the nominee, I'm getting the same. I don't know what that means, but I know that we can't go on like this much longer. We just can't. I mean, all of the issues, we all know what they are. We just have to accept that there has to be another way for that political party, the Republican Party, or whatever it will ultimately be called in the future. We have to find a way where the country matters to whoever is in charge. That we don't just simply allow someone to be chaotic and do things that don't align up with who we are as a country. And now we have, a white nationalist there, which means no one is safe. Even the white people. You didn't know that, did you? These people aren't really about white nationalism. They're about money and greed and power and control. Some of it's about the whole white concept and the racial purity and all of that, but that's such a distortion, isn't it? It doesn't lead us into the place we need to be together. Instead, we get stuck. Instead of leaving and doing what we need to do and letting go of emotions that no longer serve, we get stuck in all of it. So, work your magic, break through the logjam, do however you need to do that, however you see that process, however you see that working. Use this time over the full moon to bring illumination to the world, to the collective consciousness, to bring awareness and clarity, so that we all see once and for all what's going on and what needs to happen to bring it to a halt. Because I swear to you, if I see one more migrant individual, one more man, one more woman, one more child, pleading with our country to stop hurting them, to give them water, to give them food. How can we do that to people? How have we come back to this? Did we never leave it? Has that sort of idea just been an illusion all this time, and this is who we've been under the surface? I didn't think so, and I know an awful lot of people here don't think so either. So work your magic. The time is here. You know what to do. We'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.